Back talking about another lesson that I feel like the book The Purple Cow by Seth Godin brought up and talked about nicely, right? And it's this idea around different types of growth, right? And essentially, the long story short, is that there is small growth and then there's big growth, right? So with small growth, it's incremental change, right? A little bit better at this thing, a little bit better at that thing, a small improvement here, extension here, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? With a big change, it's something that is more radical, more transformational, more distinct and separate from what has been there before, right? And you don't get these big, dramatic, transformational changes by seeking incremental growth and incremental improvements, right? So, how does this apply to you in your life, right? The thing to remember is that whether you're in business or not, there is something to be gained from learning the best practices of others. So, if you have if you're looking to get better in whatever field, whatever endeavor, whether it be relationships, health wise, financially, in school, whatever, there's kind of advice that you can learn from experts, right? It's the best practices, it's the standard advice, it's the things that you probably already know, and you probably in some way are already thinking about how I can do those better, right? I feel like with the example of losing weight, I feel like many people already know about dieting and exercise, but it's the application of those things that could use a little bit of improvement. And I think, we're all guilty of this in different ways and with different things at different times. So it's not even something to feel guilty about, but it is just an acknowledgement. Even though we know there are these things that can give us kind of these small incremental changes, when we're developing our business, we also need to be focusing on things that could provide a real transformational shift, right? That could even change the way we're delivering our products and services, right? And so the idea is to have one eye on making what you're doing better in ways that people are responding to. And then the other idea is to have a focus on making things better in a way that people aren't even expecting. And so, particularly when this comes to content, there are a lot of people out there who will share the best practices and things that work and things that we should all be incorporating when we're making our own videos. These are good things to do because they've been proven to be effective. At the same time, as more people do them, as the market gets more saturated, as there is more competition, it's harder to stand out. The new things become old and their effectiveness wanes, right? They don't stand out as much. You don't get the same attention. You don't get the same results. And so there always has to be this constant innovation that is taking place. And it's not just innovation around how to do the old things a little bit better, which is a part of it and which is important, but it's also innovation around how can we really change the way this is done that people haven't been thinking about or that they haven't considered or that isn't currently being pursued or is different than the way things have been done before. Because those opportunities are ones that can have a huge upside, that can have you really differentiate yourself, where you can kind of be that person that is now sharing the best practice. You can be that thought leader, you can be that innovator, and that gives you a huge, not only boost to your reputation and to your brand, but it gives you a competitive advantage because people can become more familiar with your product before then you're having to compete with the larger market and everyone else.